Welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. I want to ask, are you afraid of money? Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. My name is Kale Houser. Thank you for joining me today and this week. I hope you're having a fantastic week, no matter when it is that you are listening to this, whether live on its release or years later, potentially. I wanted to talk about money a little bit. We're going to talk an aspect of money, and I want to ask, are you afraid to talk about money? Have you been raised in a family, whether by family values or culture or environment, that it is absolutely off limits on any aspect other than the most basic to talk about money? Have you been raised to where to ask somebody, how much something cost, or ask somebody how much they make or what they paid for something in a manner that is not just like being rude about it, but like genuine, hey, I'm trying to learn because I don't know what is a good price to pay for a car? What is a good interest rate to pay for a house? What is, a good square footage price when I'm looking for condos to live in? All those types of things we have to learn. And when we don't, we learn the hard way generally, because it's not often that you walk into a smoking deal where you're like, wow, just by accident, I got this amazing deal on this car or whatever. My little person's not standing up, so they're going to stay down. Funny. Here we go. You have to see the YouTube for this one if you're missing it on audio. But I know lots and lots of people, because we have been trained in the American culture that we don't talk about money. Finances are off limits. My parents never talked about money, certainly not about their finances. I have no idea how much my parents made growing up. I have no idea how much their mortgage payment was, or insurance, or what our utility bills were. None of that. Now, I was taught how to budget and do a checkbook and all those types of things. But there wasn't ever a feeling or time where I could, felt that I could go to my parents and say, hey, how much are you making an hour? And what is that doing for your life? And what does that afford you to do or not do? And certainly on my wife's side, 100%, absolutely a taboo subject of anything to matter. I remember one time we asked Liz's parents about, it was something to do with a mortgage. We were getting ready to maybe buy our first house and stuff. And we just didn't know. Like, genuinely, we had no idea. So what did we do? Being, kids at the time, young marrieds, we went to the people who had done it, who we knew, who we trusted, to say, hey, how much do you pay for your house? Like, we literally have no idea. And we got absolutely rebuffed by it because it was a taboo subject. It was seen as, I couldn't even tell you the mentality behind it of why it was seen as rude or inappropriate, like it was some big secret. Now, certainly, right, you don't want to use it as a bragging factor, but Liz and I, as young marrieds, we generally went as like, teach us, like, what is good, what is bad? Should I pay 12% interest on this credit card? Should I pay 30% interest? Teach me. And if you have that mentality, and it is entirely possible as a business owner, because we take all those with us into our ventures, whether it be starting a new business, starting a new job, new relationship, all those types of things, we take those notions with us, and especially with finances. So if you come from a household like my wife did, or similar to what I did, to where you don't generally talk about finances, and you take that into your business, and if you have a business partner, but you can't have those open and honest discussions about money, like, hey, this is how much money we have, and this is how long it's going to last us if we continue at this rate, then you're setting yourself up for absolute annihilation. There is a point in business that you have to be open and honest. Certainly with your accountant. If you've got an external agency doing your accounting and they're responsible for getting your books in order, they are relying on your upfront, honest, and forthright communication with your finances. Does that make sense? I mean, it makes sense, right? But there are so many other areas of our life that we can be absolutely afraid, if not downright terrified, to talk about money. And the reality is, people that are successful, people that see money as a tool, they're not afraid to talk about money. And in fact, that's what they do because they use it as a measurement of how well they're doing in the things they're trying to do. Make sense? It makes sense, right? If you're trying to be the best HVAC technician in your community, it would be normal to think that that would mean you are the wealthiest HVAC technician, that you have the best equipment, that you have achieved the financial success that you've been looking for because you have become the best. The money and the finances are the tool to measure how well you are doing at that job. If you think you're the best, but you are absolutely the poorest and you're running the worst equipment and you're hiring the worst guys, you're probably not the best. Look at the company that is doing well financially, and more than likely, not in all cases, but more than likely, they're probably the best and they're doing something right. And more than likely, at their upper echelons, they're not afraid to talk about money and use it as a tool to further their desires and meet their goals. Now, I'm not advocating as a business owner, if that is you, to open your books to your people, but there is something to be said of not being afraid of having those conversations with your people about money. Like, hey, I know, we want to give you a raise this year, or you're asking for this raise. This is why we can or can't do it. X, Y, and Z. Instead of that employee having that assumption like, oh man, he's doing this and this and this, which indicates that they're doing really well, but I'm still getting paid like 10% less than what the average industry is, whatever the case is. And then and you tell them, no, I can't afford to give you a raise, right? There's this disconnect. But if you can sit down and instead of being afraid of money and have that conversation with them and say, hey, this is our budget. This is what we've got going on. Yes, we've just made these improvements, but this is why we made them and they're tax deductible, blah, 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 blah. And then people get on board with your plan because they see it and they see a path to what they want. But only if you get over this innate fear or hesitation or taboo of talking about money. Now, it is not easy at all. My wife and I still have disconnects when we talk about money because we think about it differently because of our upbringing, because of our experiences in life. I absolutely see money as a tool, and when I see something that I think it will serve me, I will spend the money to make that happen. She still sees, and she's getting 1,000% better. But early in our marriage, money was something to be hoarded. Money was scarce. Money was something to be not spent unless under absolute necessity. Groceries, gas. And can you see how that creates this tension and this disconnect? Absolutely. You see it in relationships all the time. In romantic relationships and personal relationships. There are many examples of, and I think it is by a long shot, the number one cause of divorce in couples is disagreements about finances and money. And it is absolutely the number one thing that causes businesses to go under. Not necessarily the lack of it, although that certainly contributes, but I think the lack of understanding money and the lack of seeking advice and guidance about money. Because if you're struggling as a business owner, if you're struggling to make your ends meet, to hit your quotas and earn enough income in order to meet your expenses, but you are absolutely never willing to seek outside help to figure that out until it's too late, and now here you are closing the doors, declaring bankruptcy, selling off your stuff for pennies on the dollar, firing all your employees, whatever, worst case scenario, then that is indicative that you see money as something that is so personal that only you can think about it and talk about it and figure out how to use it. And that, I'm here to tell you, if you are thinking that way, if that is your go-to thought pattern of, no, I can't talk about this, I can't talk about my finances, that I've got only $100,000 in the bank, but I need 150 in order to meet all my expenses for this quarter, and I don't know how to figure out to do that, or whatever that is. If you're that type of person that is not willing to get that external help because you're afraid of talking about money, or you just believe you shouldn't be talking about money as a business owner, that is the wrong way to think. If you are a leader in your business, if you are the business owner, You need to seek that external guidance and help, that mentor to help you through this. And this may be straight up counseling. Go see your pastor. Although pastors historically may not be the best examples because they still have a lot there. That's a whole nother issue we could talk about. The thought of money in the church and religion and all that kind of stuff. But seeks from, maybe a trusted friend, advisor, fellow business person that is successful and pick their brain about money. And if they're willing to open up to you, then that's probably somebody you should be listening to. If you need help with this, absolutely, please give me a shout out. Kale@kalehouserleadership.com. Leave a comment below. Shoot me a DM. I'd be happy to talk to you. And we can at least get you pointed in the right direction. Okay? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I hope you're enjoying this episode. If you are, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share. It would be hugely helpful. No matter where you're at in the world, have a fantastic afternoon. Bye.